Imagine this. You've just finished a delightful meal in an English-speaking country. The food was incredible, the service, well, spot on. You get the bill, a smile on your face, ready to pay, and then suddenly a wave of panic washes over you. You realize you might be on the verge of committing a huge cultural faux pas, or worse, causing a major misunderstanding that could leave you feeling completely flustered, or even, embarrassed. This moment of uncertainty, especially around things like tipping, it happens more often than you think. Welcome to Daily English Practice. Listen and speak. Today, we're embarking on a crucial deep dive, navigating restaurant conversations in English. Our mission for you, our dedicated listener, is to equip you with the essential phrases, the practical vocabulary, and most importantly, those crucial cultural insights. Insights that transform dining out from a potential minefield into a truly confident and enjoyable experience. We've distilled wisdom from a variety of guides and real-world scenarios to make your next culinary adventure, well, seamless.
And that's exactly what this deep dive aims to deliver.
Yeah. We're going to break down the entire dining journey into two sort of interconnected parts. First, we'll master the practical language you need for everything from making a reservation to ordering your meal and getting the bill, that practical stuff. But then, and this is where it gets truly fascinating, I think, we'll peel back the layers on those often baffling unwritten rules of dining etiquette and cultural expectations, particularly around the complex topic of tipping, which can be baffling for many. Understanding these nuances is absolutely key to not just speaking the language, but truly understanding the culture, making your experience smooth and enjoyable, really, from start to finish.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning of your restaurant journey. Simply getting a table. Whether you're a planner who calls ahead or someone who prefers to just drop in spontaneously, knowing how to approach this first hurdle makes all the difference. If you're making a reservation, you might say something like, "I'd like to make a reservation for 2 people at 7 p.m. tonight."
Or maybe a more straightforward, "I'd like to book a table, please."
Yeah.
Now, here's a little nugget of insight. If you're celebrating something special, or maybe you have a preference, say, a quiet corner for a business chat,
Right.
you can often subtly mention it. Something like, "We're celebrating a birthday, so we're hoping for a cozy table," might, sometimes help the staff seat you more favorably. Not always, but...
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to ask.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The person on the other end will likely ask, "May I have your name? When for? For what time? Or for how many people?"
Yeah.
Pretty standard questions. And life happens, right? Plans change.
Always.
So if you need to modify or cancel a simple, "I'd like to change my reservation for 8 p.m. under the name of Smith," or "I need to cancel my reservation for tonight," is perfectly polite and, frankly, expected. Okay, so when you arrive, you'll often see a sign instructing you to please wait to be seated.
Right. Don't just wander in.
No, that's your cue to pause, and a host or hostess will come to assist you. If you have that reservation, you'd confirm, "Yes, under Smith."
Yeah.
Or whatever your name is.
Yeah.
And if you're walking in without one, just politely state your party size. "We'd like a table for 2 people, please."
They might then ask a few clarifying questions. Do you have a reservation?
Yeah.
Maybe table or booth?
Window seat, sometimes.
Yeah, or even non-smoking section, though that's less common now in many places. If it's a busy night, they might say, "It will be a 10-minute wait. Is that okay?"
Exactly. And the confidence you gain from those smooth first few exchanges actually, it cascades through the whole meal. It's like you're telling yourself, "Okay, I've got this," even before you've ordered your first bite.
Yeah, sets the tone.
It really does. Being prepared for these common initial interactions, knowing those phrases, it sets a positive, relaxed tone. It means you're already feeling comfortable, and that feeling carries through, making you more open to enjoying the entire experience, not just, the food. So you've successfully navigated the entrance, and you're seated, menu in hand, that delicious aroma hitting you.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for many learners, the real challenge begins. Confidently ordering exactly what you want, and crucially, making sure your dietary needs are understood. Let's try and make that step seamless. First, knowing how menus are typically organized is a big help.
Definitely.
You'll generally find appetizers or starters, those small dishes before the main event. Then comes the entree, or main, which is, of course, the primary dish. Side items, or sides, are smaller dishes that accompany your entree. Don't forget dessert for something sweet afterwards, and naturally drinks. To get things started, you might ask, "Could I see the menu, please?" Or maybe, "Could I see the wine list?"
Right.
And always ask about specials. I think that's a great tip.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes the best things aren't on the main menu.
Exactly. "Do you have any specials today?" Or, "What's the soup of the day?" are excellent ways to explore options beyond the standard menu. When you're ready to order, common phrases include, I'll have the, I would like the, I'd like to order, or even just can I have?
Pretty flexible.
Yeah, and if you're sharing an appetizer with your group, you can say, we'll start with the garlic bread, please, using we. Now, here's where specificity becomes your best friend. For instance, if you're ordering steak, you'll inevitably be asked about its doneness. Rare, medium, medium well, or well done. You need to know that.
Yeah, you can't just say steak.
Right. So you'd confidently say, I'll have this steak medium rare, and don't shy away from asking for modifications. Can I get the salad without onions?
Totally fine.
Or can I have the curry mild, not spicy?
Yeah.
These are perfectly acceptable requests.
And that level of specificity is incredibly important, really. It's not just for getting what you want, but for your safety and for a smooth dining experience for everyone.
That's a good point, especially the safety part.
Think about it. If you have a food allergy, articulating, I'm allergic to nuts, or does this dish contain dairy, isn't just a preference, it's vital information.
Absolutely.
It ensures the kitchen staff can prepare your meal safely, avoiding potential, serious issues.
Yep.
It also shows respect for the server's time, preventing misunderstandings that would require them to go back and forth to the kitchen. It just streamlines the process for everyone involved.
Absolutely. Addressing dietary needs or restrictions is a critical part of dining out confidently, and honestly, most restaurants are very accommodating these days.
They usually are, yeah.
Besides stating allergies, you might say, I'm gluten intolerant, or I'm vegetarian vegan. If you just want a simple modification for your drink, something like, can I have my soda with no ice, is perfectly fine and very commonly requested.
Oh yeah, it happens all the time.
Okay, you've ordered. The food's fantastic, hopefully.
Yeah.
And now we arrive at a topic that makes many English learners pause, especially if you're not from the U.S., the culture of tipping. It's often described as a wild monkey you have to learn to tango with. That's a fun way to put it.
I like that. It fits.
Why is this particular cultural norm so incredibly complex, especially for those not from the United States?
That's a great question, and it really hits at the heart of a significant cultural difference, I think. While tipping has European aristocratic roots from the 1900s, its unique prominence in the U.S. stems from a specific piece of legislation. It's called the tipping credit, which was codified by the U.S. Congress back in the 1960s.
Okay, tipping credit. What does that mean exactly?
Well, essentially, this means that in many U.S. states, restaurant owners are legally allowed to pay employees like servers and bartenders less than the standard minimum wage.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, because the government assumes tips will make up the difference. So tips aren't just a bonus. For many servers, they are their primary income. It's how they pay their bills. Imagine working, say, 30 hours a week and your actual paycheck being only maybe $200 for the entire month. The rest, sometimes thousands of dollars, comes solely from tips.
That really puts it into perspective.
Yeah.
It's quite different from many places.
Yeah.
So if tips are a primary income, what's the expected standard then? Is it still around 15% like it maybe used to be?
Not really anymore, no. For good service in a sit-down restaurant in the U.S., 20% is now the real standard. That's what's generally expected.
70%. Okay.
Yeah. Anything less is actually considered a bad tip by servers, leading them to wonder, what did I do wrong? And it's not tax-free either. Tips are fully taxed income for them. Now, because Americans are generally quite direct, you might even find that if you leave an inadequate tip and haven't raised any service issues during your meal, a server might politely inquire if everything was okay.
Oh, that could feel a bit confrontational.
It can feel uncomfortable, yeah, but it's part of the system for them to understand if they genuinely fell short or if there was just a misunderstanding about tipping.
That's an important insight for avoiding awkward moments.
Yeah, definitely.
And beyond restaurants, do these tipping norms apply elsewhere, like taxis or hairdressers?
Absolutely, though the percentages can vary quite a bit. For taxi drivers, maybe 15% is common. Valets usually receive $2 when you get your car back.
Okay.
For personal services like hairstylists, 20–25% is pretty standard. Estheticians typically get maybe 15–20%. A key thing to watch out for is automatic gratuity. Some places, like spas or for large groups in restaurants, will automatically add a service charge, often 18 or 20%, to your bill.
So always check the bill carefully.
Always check the bill. And here's a little pro tip. While paying by card is convenient, many staff members actually prefer cash tips.
Oh, interesting. Why is that?
Well, they get immediate access to the money rather than waiting for card tips to be processed through payroll, which can take time. Those physical dollar bills can be like gold for small services.
Got it. Cash is king. Sometimes, literally.
Hmm.
That's a really comprehensive breakdown of tipping.
That's
Super helpful. Now let's broaden our view a bit to general dining etiquette.
Mm.
These are those unwritten rules that show respect and make the dining experience pleasant for everyone involved.
Right, the basics.
Simple but crucial. Always use please and thank you. Goes a long way.
Always.
And a common courtesy in many cultures, including English-speaking ones. Never start eating until everyone at your table has been served. Wait for everyone. When it comes to utensils, the general rule in Western dining is to keep your fork in your left hand and your knife in your right.
Mm-hmm.
Cut one bite at a time. Don't cut up your whole steak at once, for instance.
Right.
Once you're finished eating, place your knife and fork side by side on your plate, usually parallel, maybe at the 4 o'clock position, to signal that you're done. And for general table manners, try to avoid elbows on the table while eating.
Yeah, the classic rule.
No chewing with your mouth open or talking with food in your mouth. If something gets stuck in your teeth, try to remove it discreetly, maybe cover your mouth, or wait until you can excuse yourself.
Good advice.
If you need to leave the table during the meal, always excuse yourself. Just a simple, "Excuse me, I'll be right back." And before taking a sip of a drink with others, especially if someone offered a toast or in a celebratory context, remember to say cheers or make eye contact.
Nice touch.
Finally, just a quick heads up, in the US and Canada, prices on menus are almost always pre-tax. So your final bill will be a bit higher than just adding up the menu prices.
Yeah, sales tax gets added at the end. Important to remember so you're not surprised. What's crucial to grasp here, I think, is how deeply these cultural nuances shape the entire dining experience. Understanding the why behind tipping in the U.S., for instance, that it's tied to wages, transforms it from just a confusing obligation into recognizing a system of compensation.
Right, gives it context.
Exactly. It also helps you understand why a server might react a certain way to a low tip. And mastering basic etiquette isn't about rigid, old-fashioned rules. It's about showing respect.
Yeah.
It fosters a more pleasant interaction for both you and the restaurant staff. It's really about demonstrating a valuable level of cultural awareness and consideration.
Okay, but things don't always go perfectly when dining out, right?
Tara,
And that's absolutely okay.
happens to everyone.
The key is knowing how to politely address a problem, or, on the flip side, how to express your satisfaction. For instance, I remember one time I ordered something I thought was vegetarian, and it arrived with bacon bits sprinkled all over.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. So, common issues you might encounter include, this isn't what I ordered, or
Right.
this food's cold, maybe this is too salty, or this doesn't taste right, or even we've been waiting a really long time. The most crucial rule here, I think, is to tell your server right away as soon as you notice the issue.
Yes, don't wait until you've eaten half of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't suffer in silence and then complain after finishing the meal. And always, always be polite.
Yeah.
No need to be aggressive.
Precisely. Your server is usually your first point of contact and your best bet for a quick solution. They can often fix issues immediately, maybe get you a new dish, reheat something, offer a complimentary item, or at least give a sincere apology.
Yeah.
If it's a bigger issue, something they can't fix themselves, they'll usually bring a manager over. And the manager typically has the authority to offer discounts or make more significant adjustments to the bill.
Right.
Being polite but clear is definitely the key. You could say, "Excuse me, my food seems to be cold," or "Pardon me, I think this isn't what I ordered." Or if you really need to escalate, "May I please speak to your manager?" This really empowers you to ensure your needs are met without creating unnecessary tension or awkwardness.
Yeah, handling problems well is important. But on the more positive side, it's wonderful to express your satisfaction when you've had a great meal.
Absolutely, they love hearing that.
Phrases like, "That was delicious," or "Everything was wonderful, thank you," are always genuinely appreciated by the staff. You could even offer a direct compliment to the kitchen. Compliments to the chef. Or, "The meal was fantastic. Please compliment the chef for us." And if you need anything else during your meal, don't hesitate to ask politely, "Could we have another fork? Did we get some more bread? A jug of tap water?"
Or refills?
Yeah, can we get a refill on our water? That's very common. If you have leftovers and want to take them home, which is very common in the U.S., portions can be large,
Yeah.
you can ask, "Can I get a box for my leftovers?"
Or the classic.
Or colloquially, "Can I have a doggy bag for the leftovers?" Both work fine.
You know, knowing these phrases truly empowers you as the diner. It's really important. It transforms you from just a passive recipient into an active participant in your dining experience.
That's a great way to put it.
You're not just practicing English phrases in isolation. You're gaining the agency, the power, to ensure your needs are met, address issues gracefully if they arise, and, just as importantly, express your genuine appreciation when things go well. This active engagement, I think, deeply enhances your learning journey and your cultural immersion. It makes the whole thing more real.
Okay, we've navigated the meal, maybe solved a small problem, complimented the chef. Now we've reached the final step in your dining experience, paying the bill.
The grand finale.
And there's some specific ways to navigate this smoothly. In North America, it's quite common for servers to bring the bill to your table without you even having to ask, especially once they notice you're finished eating and chatting.
Yeah, they often anticipate it.
But if they're busy, or maybe they just forget, don't hesitate to politely ask for it. You can say, "Can we have the bill, please?" Or "Check, please."
Both work.
Yeah, both bill and check mean the same thing in a U.S. restaurant context. Other clear phrases are, "Excuse me, we'd like the bill," or simply, "We're ready to pay." When it's time to actually pay, you'll want to know how to ask about payment options. Can I pay by card? Or do you take credit cards? Or
Yeah.
standard. The server might ask you, will that be cash or card? Splitting the bill among a group is very, very common in many English-speaking countries, especially the U.S. and Canada.
Much more common than in some other cultures, perhaps.
Definitely. So you can just ask, can we split the bill, please? Or can we pay separately? The server might then ask, how would you like to divide it? Maybe equally, maybe by item.
Right.
If you're feeling generous and want to cover everyone's meal, you can say, this one's on me, or it's my treat, or maybe I'll cover the bill.
Nice gestures.
And yes, going back to tipping, you can absolutely add the tip to your card payment. Just confirm, can I add the tip to my card payment? They'll usually say yes and show you how on the receipt or card machine.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, mastering these payment phrases and understanding the cultural norms around paying ensures you can make a graceful, competent exit from any dining situation.
Smooth landing.
Exactly. It's the final flourish in your confident restaurant conversation journey. It ensures the experience ends as smoothly and positively as it began, leaving a good impression and minimizing any lingering confusion or awkwardness about who owes what.
Now, for a quick and, I think, really playful detour into a fascinating slice of American linguistic history, diner lingo.
Oh, this is fun stuff.
Yeah, this isn't essential for your modern restaurant conversations, probably, but it's such a quirky example of how language evolves in specific, fast-paced environments. Diner lingo is basically a kind of verbal slang that cooks and waitstaff used in classic American diners.
Back in the day.
Yeah, especially popular maybe from the 1920s to the 1970s. These terms were often lighthearted, sometimes a little cheeky, and they served as helpful shortcuts or mnemonic devices for remembering complex orders quickly.
Yeah.
For instance, get this. Adam and Eve on a raft meant 2 poached eggs on toast.
Ah, okay.
Water had a few fun names like Adam's Ale or City Juice. Butter was sometimes called axle grease or cow paste.
Axle grease. Appetizing.
I know, right? Coffee, too, had loads of nicknames.
Yeah.
Belly warmer, Jamocha, Java, Joe, or even Mug of Merc.
Joe. That one stuck around.
That one definitely stuck. And my favorite, a rather well-done burger, was sometimes called a hockey puck.
Ouch. Tells you something about the burger.
It does. Or a donut could be a life preserver or a sinker. Moo juice for milk. A radio sandwich was tuna fish, maybe because tuna was often advertised on the radio.
Ah, could be.
There's even the infamous shit on a shingle, or SOS, which was chipped beef and milk gravy on toast, a military staple apparently. And reckum meant scrambled eggs.
Wow. It's like a whole secret language. What this diner lingo truly shows us, I think, beyond just being fun, is how language is a living, breathing thing. It adapts constantly to specific human needs and environments.
Yeah.
It's a testament to human creativity under pressure, right? Creating a shorthand that was both efficient for a busy kitchen and often quite humorous. It's a great reminder that language isn't just about grammar rules learned in a book. It's about cultural expression, ingenuity, and the subtle, sometimes quirky ways people connect and communicate.
So what does all of this mean for you, the learner, as you look forward to your next meal out in an English-speaking place? It means you're now equipped with not just the phrases and vocabulary, but hopefully also the vital cultural know-how. Enough to walk into an English-speaking restaurant, whether it's a super casual cafe or a fancy fine dining establishment, with far more confidence. Remember, practice makes perfect, of course, but informed practice, like the deep dive you've just completed with us, makes that practice much less stressful and, honestly, a whole lot more enjoyable.
Absolutely. And knowledge is most valuable when it's understood and applied, right? By understanding these conventions, these phrases, the etiquette, the tipping culture, you're not just learning English phrases parrot fashion. You're gaining real insight into a culture, appreciating the subtle nuances that make interactions smoother and just more pleasant for everyone.
Yeah.
And this raises an important question, maybe something for you to think about. What other everyday situations could be transformed by a little bit of this kind of deep dive preparation and cultural understanding? Perhaps your next trip will involve more confident conversations, not just about food, but maybe about navigating public transport or shopping or even just striking up a casual conversation and making new friends. The principles of cultural awareness and clear communication apply pretty much everywhere.
That's a wonderful thought to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into English for restaurant conversations. We truly hope you feel ready to, well, maybe not dine like a royal every time, but certainly to navigate any culinary adventure with confidence and without a single faux pas.